Let us pray. O God of all that was and is to come, grace us with your presence this commencement day. Fill our hearts with gratitude for the achievements of this class, for those who supported them in their studies, those who inspired them to excel, and for the long, hard hours put in by each student. But God, we gather not only to celebrate achievements of this day, but also new beginnings, the bright future ahead for each graduate. What was once a seed has been watered by deep springs, warmed by the sunlight. There's been growth in knowledge and blossoms of wisdom. Only you, O God, know the full beauty, potential, and life-giving fruits that will be born. So lead and bless this graduating class, we pray, in these moments of honor and recognition, and in all the days to come. Amen.
Good morning. Please be seated. I'm Alan Rashkin, proud to be a graduate of the Randolph-Macon class of 1969, honored to serve as chair of the Board of Trustees, and privileged to welcome you to the 2016 commencement ceremony. Today is a great day in the life of Randolph-Macon, and it is a great day to be a Yellow Jacket. I want to start by thanking everyone here today, students, parents, alumni, faculty, staff, friends, and distinguished guests, for all the many meaningful ways in which you support and nurture this wonderful and enduring institution. And I want to bring special thanks to the class of 2016, and special greetings from the Board of Trustees, many of whom are seated behind me on the stage. These board members, like everyone else here today, is here to celebrate and congratulate you for your outstanding accomplishments and activities in the classrooms, on the athletic fields, in your student organizations, on the courts, and throughout our community, our state, and our nation. You're a credit to this fine institution, and we're proud to welcome you as lifelong members of the family of Randolph-Macon graduates. We take special pride in installing today the class of 2016 into that noble company of Randolph-Macon educated men and women. To the members of the class of 2016, 310 strong, by the way, the largest graduating class in the history of the college, as you conclude your last moments as students, I have one more charge or lesson for you. Your obligation, indeed, I submit it would be your mission, should now be to use your education, not only to enrich your own lives, but also the lives you touch as citizens of our global society. Your liberal arts education has given you rare gifts and instilled in you values. And if you allow them to do so, they will pay dividends throughout your life. Promise those who are here to cheer you on today, promise yourselves you will use these gifts wisely and unselfishly. And now for a moment, I'd like to focus my attention away from today's graduates. I want to talk for a moment about folks who graduated quite some time ago. This morning we have with us a special group of alumni. We call them the Boyden Society. And they are members of classes that graduated from Randolph-Macon, like you will in moments, but they did 50 years or more ago. And this year we will induct into the Boyden Society the class of 1966, and following that ceremony, the number of the members of the Boyden Society will be 969. Since leaving Randolph-Macon, this group has remembered the lasting benefits of the education and experience that you are now concluding, and they've expressed their appreciation tangibly with extremely generous support for Randolph-Macon. Thus, over the past 32 years alone, this group has contributed nearly $54 million to the college. I don't blame you for applauding. You should, but you jumped the gun. Would the members of the Boyden Society and the class of 1966 who are here today please stand so that we may honor you with our applause. Thank you. Graduates, during your time at Randolph-Macon, you've had a unique opportunity to experience and benefit a true renaissance on this campus. When you arrived, students, in 2012, we were in the midst of the Building Extraordinary campaign, the most historic capital campaign in the college's long history. And through the generous support of extraordinary alumni, parents, friends, faculty, staff, and our students, we surpassed our $100 million goal, and in fact, we ended the campaign in December of 2015 with over $125 million in gifts and commitments. This provided us with invaluable resources to build new athletic facilities, new residential facilities, a beautiful new campus student commons, important library addition, renovate academic facilities on campus, and increase scholarship assistance and support for our outstanding faculty. As President Lindgren is clear to point out, of the $80 million spent on these capital projects, not $1 came from tuition. Rather, the funds came from the generosity of our extraordinary constituents and supporters, including our alumni. And speaking of alumni, last year, 40% of our alumni made a gift to the college. In case you need some context, that means we were number 1 in participation in the Commonwealth of Virginia and number 16 in the nation among all colleges and universities in terms of percentage of alumni support. We believe that this is a direct, I don't blame you for applauding there either. This level of participation and support is a tribute to the alumni who've been here and their feelings about the outstanding liberal arts education they received while at Randolph-Macon. Now, one project we've begun building is our new science building, and I expect when we're here next year, we'll be able to point in that direction because that science building will be completed by the summer of 2017. And this will help ensure our strong tradition of academic excellence and exceptional education afforded to each of you will also be available for future generations. So as you embark on your new adventures in life, beginning today, I encourage you to remember and thank those whose generosity and kindness touched your lives and enriched your Randolph-Macon experience, and join them in helping to change the lives of others in the future. Again, I thank all of you who are here today. Whether your connection with the college has spanned a mere 4 years, or 50 years or more, or anything in between, we're glad that you're joining us today on this festive and important occasion, a milestone in the lives of our graduates and a most fitting way to recognize Randolph-Macon's 186th year of service to the Commonwealth and the nation. I know you'll be pleased to hear that my remarks are ended. I will now introduce the President, Robert Lindgren, and the Provost, Dr. William Franz, who will begin the presentation of the honorary degrees.
I would now like to call on Professor Sarah Schreiner, Dudley P. and Patricia C. Jackson, Professor of Chemistry and Chair of the Department of Chemistry. And would Mr. Haywood A. Hap Payne come forward between President Lindgren and me? And would also Dr. Douglas Lawson, Randolph-Macon class of 1957, and the Dean of Men in 1966 join us as well.
College class of 1968, Haywood A. Hap Payne has been a distinguished pioneer not only at this college, but throughout his career and in his philanthropy. Randolph-Macon, our wider community, and indeed the world are better because he has been part of them. He's a chemistry major who has made good, as they say, one of the many outstanding chemists with ties to this institution. His extraordinary impact on the college from his time as a student some 50 years ago to his current distinguished service on our Board of Trustees, where he's serving his second term and as vice chair stands as a testament to the very best of Randolph-Macon. Throughout his 40-year career, Hap's leadership brought tremendous success to the Chevron Corporation. His management style, hard work, ingenuity were revered throughout the company. Hap has a deep passion for philanthropy and has established a tradition of giving back to others. We are so very proud to have this opportunity to honor and to bestow the honorary degree Doctor of Humanities on Haywood A. Hap Payne.
Hap, we greatly admire your perseverance, hard work, and deep commitment to the college. Pursuant to the recommendation of the Faculty and Trustee Committee, and upon the vote of the Randolph-Macon College Board of Trustees, by virtue of the authority vested in me, I award you the degree Doctor of Humanities with all rights, privileges, and honors appertaining thereto. Congratulations.
The citation for our next honorary degree will be presented by Dr. Amy DeGraff, RMC Professor Emerita of French. Would Dr. Susan Carroll come forward between President Lindgren and me?
Dr. Sue Carroll is a distinguished scholar known for her work publishing the correspondence of two 18th century aristocrats, French aristocrats, the Chevalier de Boufflers and the Comtesse de Sabran, whose letters to each other span one of the most important periods of time in French history, before, during, and after the French Revolution. Her work has been internationally recognized for the quality of her writing in French and for its significant historical insight. In 2011, one of the most prominent newspapers in France, Le Figaro, featured Dr. Carroll and her work in an article entitled "The Cowgirl and the Aristocrats." The same year, she very deservedly received one of the highest honors given to a writer in France, a Prix d'Académie, that is the prize of the Academy from the French Academy, the Académie Française. This is an almost unprecedented honor for an American. Dr. Carroll began her career as a traditional academic. She earned her PhD in French from the University of Virginia. And in the 1970s, she was a beloved professor of French here at Randolph-Macon College for several years. In 1981, her career in higher education came to an end as she had to return to California to take care of elderly parents. That period marked a notable shift in Dr. Carroll's life and scholarship. In 1986, Dr. Carroll began her research on the Sabran-Boufflers correspondence. With enormous perseverance, Dr. Carroll dedicated her extraordinary and non-traditional scholarly career to assembling, organizing, transcribing, and editing over 1,000 original documents dating back to the 18th century. She ultimately was granted exclusive rights to publish the Sabran family archives, and she acquired additional manuscript collections in Paris. She's published 2 volumes, Le Lit Bleu in 2009 and La Promesse in 2010. Dr. Carroll, we commend you for your outstanding scholarship, and we look forward to continuing with you on your journey through this correspondence as you publish future volumes. Today, we are pleased to bestow the honorary degree Doctor of Humanities on Dr. Sue Carroll.
Dr. Sue Carroll, we commend you for your remarkable scholarship, which has provided meaningful insight into French history and far beyond. Pursuant to the recommendation of the Faculty and Trustee Committee and upon the vote of the Randolph-Macon College Board of Trustees, by virtue of the authority vested in me, I award you the degree Doctor of Humanities with all the rights, privileges, and honors appertaining thereto. Congratulations. In the summer of 1966, a young man from Richmond, Virginia, was sitting on top of the world. A rising junior at Virginia Union University, he was majoring in chemistry and physics with a 3.97 grade point average, the highest at the school. He had been elected junior class president and president of his fraternity. To top it off, his girlfriend of 2 years, a young woman named Alice, had herself just been elected Miss Junior Class at Virginia Union by her peers. The oldest of 3 children, he had become a role model for family members and in his community. His parents had not attended college, so he was determined to work very hard, to excel, and to make his parents and younger siblings proud. And indeed, as he prepared to enter his junior year of college, that is precisely what he was doing. Then, during that summer of 1966, his world changed. Out of the blue, he received a phone call from Virginia Union's Dean of Students, and Dr. Jameson was calling to invite him to transfer to Randolph-Macon College on a full scholarship and become RMC's first African American student. He listened, and as he hung up the phone with his dean, this young man no doubt thought to himself, now why in the world would I want to do that? But out of courtesy and perhaps curiosity, he came to Randolph-Macon for a tour, and during that visit, his interest started to grow. He loved the beauty of this campus, and the potential to receive a world-class education was evident to him. As a young man passionate about chemistry, he saw an opportunity to work with equipment in our laboratories so advanced he had only read about it in books. Many in his own community at home, not all, but many, also strongly encouraged him to accept this important trailblazing role. In the end, he made the consequential decision to enroll at Randolph-Macon. But it was not without inner conflict, because he was leaving behind the accolades and comforts of a university environment where he had achieved deep respect and notable success in exchange for an experience full of unknowns and ultimately requiring enormous courage. As Hap Payne stepped on our campus As the only African American student in the fall of 1966, he faced a great deal of adversity. In that era, racism and bigotry were often tolerated as part of the society here in Virginia, and many people, including fellow students and even faculty and staff, were unkind and even hurtful towards him. But there are heroes in this story as well. Dr. Doug Lawson is one of them. As RMC's Dean of Men, he was very instrumental in reaching out to Virginia Union and enrolling HAP. And we are deeply honored, as I know HAP is, to have Doug with us here today, all the way from Texas, to help celebrate this special occasion. Another hero is Bill Rippon, HAP's RMC roommate, who was captain of the football team and a big man on campus in those days. When President Moreland asked him if he would room with HAP, Bill Rippon could have easily taken the easy way out, not involving himself with this complicating arrangement, particularly in his senior year. However, not only did he say yes, Bill said he would be honored to do so. And HAP has credited Bill with becoming a great friend and like a brother to him. Unfortunately, ill health prevents Bill from joining us here this morning. But he told me this week it is HAP who had been the great inspiration. HAP, Bill says, was an amazing person, disciplined, very hardworking. Randolph-Macon could not have picked a better person to lead this important change. And without a doubt, a less strong person might have given up. A less determined person might not have made it. But HAP refused to quit. In every circumstance, he called upon his characteristic fortitude and resolve to see him through. He found ways, even in the middle of trying moments, to express and share joy. He celebrated small victories, and all the while, he worked hard, very, very hard. And in the end, he succeeded. And in the spring of 1968, when he had earned his Bachelor of Science in Chemistry and crossed the commencement stage to receive his Randolph-Macon diploma, his senior class gave him a standing ovation. And today, nearly 50 years later, he is gracing this same RMC commencement stage again. And I mean gracing in every sense of that good word. While there have been challenges, these past 50 years have been full of extraordinary successes for HAP as well. 2 years after his graduation, he made what he considers to be the most important decision of his life, which was to marry the woman he had been dating since he was 16 years old, that former Miss Junior class at Virginia Union, Alice Myers. They have since raised 3 terrific children and have had a wonderful life together. Alice has joined us and is sitting on the balcony at Brock Commons. Alice, please stand and let us greet you here today. Hap had a remarkable 40-year career as a leader with the Chevron Corporation, all the time being a philanthropic model. His service has included his leadership on our own Randolph-Macon College Board of Trustees, where he currently serves as vice chairman. He has served the college in many other ways as well, and in 2011 was the deserving recipient of the Society of Alumni's Distinguished Service Award. There are so many proud moments and distinguished accomplishments in Hap's remarkable life. Recently, I learned about one of his proudest. It was the summer of 1968, a few months following that graduation from Randolph-Macon. It was an extremely hot summer in Richmond, and Hap was living with his parents before his first job as a high school chemistry and physics teacher was to start in September. He decided he wanted to surprise his family by buying them 2 brand new window air conditioning units. So he went to the Central National Bank at 3rd and Broad Streets in downtown Richmond to ask for a $500 loan. When he met with the loan officer, Hap was told that he did not qualify for that loan because his job did not start until September, and it was only July. How disappointed he must have been. As he describes it, he was sitting at the loan officer's desk, his hands folded on top of the table, when the loan officer stopped and looked at those hands. For you see, Hap was wearing his RMC class ring, and the man noticed it. He disappeared for a few minutes to talk to another loan officer, and when he returned to where Hap was sitting, he said, "Are you a Macon man?" Hap proudly replied, "I am," to which the loan officer proclaimed, "That's good enough for me." And when a few days later the Sears truck pulled up to his parents' house with those brand new air conditioning units, his mom and dad were positively overjoyed with the surprise. And to this day, Hap still tears up thinking about it. The determination, fortitude, and resilience for which Hap is known are always expressed in equal measure with his characteristic joy, overwhelming kindness, and supreme generosity. Hap is a Macon man indeed. Graduates and guests, please give a warm welcome to your fellow Yellow Jacket, RMC class of 1968, Dr. Hap Payne.
Wow, that was quite an introduction. President Lindgren is absolutely right. I do tear up with that story even 50 years later. So, let me begin. Members of the board, faculty, and administration, family, friends of the graduates, and most importantly, the graduating class of 2016. Now, I'm an accolade of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Successful People and Principle-Centered Leadership. So I always begin with the end in mind. My mission is twofold. First, to the graduates, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to you as Randolph-Macon's class of 2016. Today, we recognize and honor you for your hard work, your dedication, your diligence, those many sleepless nights and all-nighters that you went through to accomplish those goals to bring you to this point and receive a bachelor's degree. I personally know how difficult and how amazing your accomplishment is, and you are an extraordinary class, so I congratulate you. Well done, class. Now, equally important is that you didn't achieve this accomplishment alone. As you look around you today, you'll see faculty, friends, and family, all of whom were successful in helping you achieve your goals. So I would ask that you stand now and formally return thanks to them for the support they gave you for the last 4 years in achieving your bachelor's degree at Randolph-Macon. Very good. It's always good to give back, isn't it? Makes you feel good. I am honored and humbled to be your commencement speaker, but I do not take this role lightly. I've labored over what to share with you this morning, and I'm sure that some of you are asking why I was chosen to address you on such an august occasion. Well, first of all, we're now related. 50 years ago, I was almost sitting where you are now. Of course, now we have the extraordinary campus. And I was thinking to myself, as some of you were thinking, maybe thinking now, thank you, Jesus, I finally got through. But there may be another reason for my being here, and that's because I'm a FIP. Now, FIP, according to my wife, whom you just met, and some family members, is a formally important person. So I have that accolade in addition to this, but this is really neat. You know, the chevrons and everything, I'm really impressed with this. But this brings me to my second mission, and that is to say to the parents, the family, and friends that hopefully my comments this morning will provide some consideration, encouragement, and insights to get these newly minted and very proud and extraordinary graduates out of your house and off of your payroll. And I pray for your success. There you go. I get an amen for that, right? Now, rest assured, my intent is not to stand here and pontificate. That's certainly not my style. But I do have a few things to share that I hope might leverage our students, our graduates, in taking more ownership of those changes as they enter the next phase of their lives. Now, my first wife, Alice, who is also an accomplished professor. As a matter of fact, in our den, there's this plaque on the wall that says Professor Emeritus from her job. She always gives me counsel, and because she's more familiar with graduations than I am, she gave me the 3 rules for commencement speaking. The first is to be on point. The second is to be brief, and the third is to be gone. So I assure you that I will honor at least 2 of the 3. Now, a couple of other things about Alice I'll get to a little bit later. But what I'd like to do is you've heard some things about my career, but I'd like to give you a little sense about who I am as an individual. It's one thing to talk about the roles that one has. There's something else to know a little bit about that individual's personality and character. So I'm going to invite you to join me to peek into my Johari's window. This is one of the things I love about a liberal arts education. You may recall Johari's window is a situation where there are things that I know about myself that you may not know. So I'm going to choose to share those things with you now. First of all, I was raised exceedingly well. In fact, I was raised by a village. I'm the product of a mixed marriage. My mother was Baptist, my father was Catholic, which means that I went to church twice on Sundays, and I've got this Catholic guilt about everything. When it doesn't rain in California, I apologize to my neighbors. It's just something that I'm used to. Now, I'm all about family. Family is first and foremost in my life. And I said I'd reference Alice a little later. As I traveled around, and we traveled around in various cities during my career, Alice has been the one that has really kept the family whole with our 3 kids. And I'll give you just an example of the strength that that lady has. She's very quiet and soft-spoken. But I remember when we moved to California, and some of the neighbor kids knocked on the front door to ask if they could play with our kids. And one of the little boys came in and he said, "Hello, Alice," to Alice. And I thought, oh, Lord, this kid isn't going to see the breath of day. He's gone. Tried to save him. And Alice invited him in with 2 other little kids, and she said to him, "You may call me Miss Alice. You may call me Mrs. Payne, but you will never call me by my first name." She said, "This may be California outside, but when you cross the threshold, you are now in the Commonwealth of Virginia." And we say, "Yes, ma'am," and "Yes, sir." That's a little bit about Alice. But I'll continue more with some of Johari's window. I'm a proponent of a liberal arts education, and you'll learn that certainly more in my comments. I'm also an advocate of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And I would like to see more women and minorities involved in that, so that's one of my passions. I believe that all lives matter. I endorse networks. As a matter of fact, with Chevron had 22 employee networks, and I was the executive sponsor for 4 of those networks: the Black Employee Network, the Women's Employee Network, the Indonesian Employees Network, and the LGBT Network. I have a driving philosophy around life, and that is, if you see it, you own it. And the second is, do it right or not at all. I'm also an avid enjoyer of jazz, and I will shout out to my colleagues here that if you haven't heard of the Richmond Jazz Society, you should learn something about it. I think that's one of the premier organizations in Richmond that I certainly enjoy. I will also say that one of my challenges is that I tend to digress. Even though I'd like to make my comments this morning less pontifical, more personal, more pragmatic. I'll slip into digression, and that happens to me. But that happens with FIPS. You get to a certain age, and things sort of slip from you. So let me begin with two quotes. One from Dr. Martin Luther King in terms of change that the graduates are about to see. The pendulum of change does not swing naturally. Somebody has to push it. And the second quote comes from Jack Welch, who was formerly a CEO of General Electric Corporation when it was the most profitable corporation in the United States. I asked Jack what were the criteria in his mind for leadership and change, and he gave me three. He said, you must be comfortable in a diverse and global economy. You must possess endless amounts of energy and commitment, and you must be able to engage and motivate people. I thought those were very important bits of information, so with that, I've chosen to organize my comments around three factors: mission, vision, and values. My mission this morning is to reinforce the fact that you graduates made the right decision when you came to Randolph-Macon. That's my mission. In terms of vision, I want to offer a long-range premonition for self-actualization and success. And in terms of values, I think that the most critical success factor is to know thyself. So that's how I'm going to get started with this. Now, what you need to know and what you need to have first, graduates, is an elevator speech. You're familiar with an elevator speech? Elevator speech is a 2 to 3 minute extemporaneous speech that you present to people when you have the opportunity. Now, this can be for a job interview, it could be for a graduate school interview, it could be for your next date. But you gotta have the elevator speech ready. And you also have to realize that you rarely get a second chance to make a first impression. Okay, so with that, let me tell you what I know about you, what I know about this graduating class. I know that you're extraordinary, very extraordinary. As a matter of fact, your SGA president, Talbert Weston, has told, hey, where is she? Shout out to Talbert. On a quarterly basis, she presents to the Board of Trustees what's going on campus from the students' point of view. She's represented you exceedingly well, a very talented young lady. And we always ask Talbert to tell us in a candid way what's going on, and she's done that for us. We always also ask her the question, what brought you to Randolph-Macon? And she responds, certainly in the way that many of you might respond had you been asked that question. And that is because the campus is so lovely, because the faculty is great, and the people are enjoyable to be with. Now, I thought maybe it might be interesting if I were to tell you why I chose to come to Randolph-Macon 50 years ago, but as always, the president is ahead of me in that, and he's already described that. But I will add a little bit to it. I did start my college career at Virginia Union University, and I was a rising junior when I came here. And I did encounter some challenges, as we all might encounter. As a matter of fact, well, I won't go into too many of those, but there are a couple of fraternities that felt that I shouldn't be here. And often, because I was a chemistry major, I would go over to Pace Hall at night because I couldn't study in the library. In the library, usually there were a group of students who gathered to yell racial epithets at me just to get me to get out of the library. And then they would wait for me outside of the library and then chase me back to my dormitory. As a matter of fact, the track coach went to Bill Rippon, who was captain of the football team, and asked him, he said, you think Hap might be interested in running track? He said, I've seen him running every evening back from the library to the dorm, and he seems to be ahead of that group, so he must be pretty quick. I said, well, that's because they're chasing him. That's not necessarily a criteria for wanting to join a track team, but nonetheless, that's what they thought. I had two super people here who helped me in my career. One was Dean Andrews. He was a newly minted dean after Doug Lawson, who brought me here. He was my confidant I had 3 words that described him that I'll share with you. It was omnipotent, because Dean Andrews had this basso profundo voice where he could yell at students from one end of the campus to the other, particularly if he saw that I was in trouble. He was also omniscient, all-knowing. He knew everything that was going on campus. How he knew, I do not know. He was also ubiquitous. Everywhere I was, he was. He always had my back, and that was an incredible thing too. The other was Dr. Pannell. Dr. Pannell was my academic advisor. He was the one who ensured that I did not get into any courses where I was doomed to fail, because there were some courses where the professors decided they did not want to teach a person of my ethnicity, and they refused to have me, as they expressed it, darken their doorways. So I chose not to take those courses. Now, if there's a message in this for you, I would say to you that I graduated from Randolph-Macon with confidence and faith, prepared for the next steps, whatever those next steps might be. As a matter of fact, Dr. King said that confidence is taking the next step when you can't even see the staircase. I would say to you to value your education and experiences that you enjoyed here. I would say to you, never forget from whence you came and the importance of family. And I'd also say to you, under this context of mission and having made the right decision, to remember to give back to the college, to keep it as extraordinary as it is now. And I can assure you that Vice President Diane Louder knows where you are, and she will find you when it's time to make annual contributions. Now, as I said, I had some troubling memories, but I also had some exciting memories while I was here at Randolph-Macon. One of my favorite things was to sit in Pace Hall, which is over here, amidst all the chemicals, the toluene, the nitrogen, all the ammonia, and contemplate whether or not there would be any extraordinary damage to surrounding buildings if perchance the KA house imploded, because they were some of my most favorite nemesis. Now, let me move on to vision. In 1967, there was a movie called The Graduate, starring Dustin Hoffman, Anne Bancroft, Kathleen Ross. At college graduation, the Hoffman character was given one word that was supposed to have been prophetic for the future in terms of business success. Does anybody recall what that word was? Plastics, right. If you want to be successful, get into plastics. So I thought, in my own little soliloquy, that I would give you a word, and my word is quantum. Now, I don't have to look behind me to see the provost smiling, or do I look at Deanna Woolard. I assure you that they did not influence me to bring up quantum. I'm not going to talk about quantum physics or quantum mechanics or quantum computing. But I have given thought to talking about Schrödinger's cat. Now, the Schrödinger's cat, this was an Austrian physicist who in 1935 postulated that if you were to take a cat and put the cat in a box and then expose the cat in the box to either some radioactive elements or to poison, there was a 50-50 chance that the cat might die, but there's a 50-50 chance that the cat might live. Well, in fact, inside the box, the cat is in what's called a superposition state. Now, I know this is fairly esoteric, it's early. Superposition state, which means that the cat is both alive and dead at the same time. That's what superpositioning is all about. Now, you don't know the outcome, whether the cat is alive or dead, until you open the box. Because once you open the box, all possibilities collapse into one reality, and then it's confirmed. My message here in terms of vision for the future is that to the graduates, your future is open to a myriad of realities and possibilities, and that your lives will change with more than simply a series of binary decisions, either yes or no decisions. And you really won't know whether you made those right decisions until you get to a certain state in your life when you can observe and measure at the end of life what you've accomplished. In fact, it is an and world, and there are more than 50 shades of gray. It is how you deal with those gray situations in life that determine your character, your integrity, and your reputation. And you've had a great start by being here at Randolph-Macon. I would ask that you focus on mastery and do the best that you can with whatever it is that you're doing. Because the goal at the end of life is to look back over all the possibilities and all the decisions that you made and to be, at the end of life, the very best version of you that's possible. So that's the message there. Be the very best person of you that's possible. Well, that's the vision piece. So let me go to values. The values are essentially continuing the values that you've established here and the values that hopefully you were raised with. I said I was raised exceedingly well, and that's true. But I know that I'm different. I've always been different. I'm called an NF in the Myers-Briggs personality type indicators. That's an intuitive feeling person. Now I'm sure that Professor Kelly Lambert will tell you that most people are SJs, sensing and judging, which means that the NFs are just a little bit different. We NFs make big decisions with our heart and small decisions with our brains. We're very intuitive, and once we make a decision that's made on intuition, we do everything that we can to make sure that that decision is the right one and that it comes true. So it asks that you, first of all, determine what your Myers-Briggs personality type indicator is and use that as you continue to progress in life. I was fortunate enough to have over 15 positions as I moved from leaving Randolph-Macon into the C-suite at Chevron. I managed research laboratories where 70% of the employees were PhDs or better, all of whom were recruited from the best schools, Caltech, Stanford, very few from Randolph-Macon, although I think that would have been an advantage, Chicago and MIT. But I've also, on the other hand, led organizations in 60 countries that were involved in infrastructure support. These are people who may not have had that kind of academic training that one would seek. However, they did the work that was most important to the success of the organization, in my view. I would often threaten the chairman when he would come to me and say that we're going to cut your budget. I would point to a light switch that I had on the wall, and I said, if I turn off this light switch, all of Chevron shuts down, because it's my folks who manage the infrastructure. And of course, he would chuckle at that and move on, threatening to fire me at any moment. But the point here is that one of the things that I observed, certainly leading organizations of different types, different styles, different educational backgrounds, is to treat all people with dignity and respect, no matter what the roles they have. To recognize that a leader is not defined by job title, but how he or she inspires, and that managing change is more successful from the inside rather than out. And again, if you see it, you own it. Take a risk. So let me conclude my comments, which may have seemed to have rambled somewhat, but that's intentionally so because I'm a much better TED Talk speaker than I am a commencement speaker. But in summary, here's what I wanted to say, and here's what I wanted to share with the graduates. I'm a strong proponent of a liberal arts education. I've seen its value in business over 40 years, and I see its value continuing. I think you are blessed to have been at Randolph-Macon and to have achieved your goal with this bachelor's degree. You've received an excellent education here, graduates. There's been emphasis on critical thinking and in a learning environment, and you've had opportunities that extend beyond the walls of Randolph-Macon, beyond the college's boundaries. In terms of faculty, there's none better. I've had a chance to meet many of the faculty. I have tremendous respect for the faculty, and I know of their commitment and engagement and their dedication to you, so that a lot of your success is certainly based on what they've done and what they've shared. I picked out a word that I thought would describe that distinguishes our faculty from other faculties at colleges and universities, and that word is lagniappe. if you're familiar with New Orleans, the term lagniappe is a little something special. Well, that little something special here is a passion for teaching and a passion for making sure that the students here were successful in whatever they attempted to do. The last is to comment in terms of the value that the President Lindgren, and his staff has placed on education, trying to create for you and through building extraordinary, an environment that encourages personal growth and leverages extraordinary development. That's one of the reasons why I use this class. I would characterize this class as being extraordinary. So you are, for me, the extraordinary class of 2016. So in conclusion, if this were 50 years ago, I would have said to you, there's a poem that's a favorite poem of mine called the Desiderata by Max Ehrmann, and it says, it reads, "Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible and without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and ignorant, for they too have their story." Well, because you are the extraordinary class of 2016, that poem may not be appropriate for you. Instead, I would tell you to get out there, make some noise, begin your own revolution, make a difference, seize the day, take ownership of your future class and your future states, and be the best possible version of you now, henceforth, and forevermore. So congratulations, class of 2016. So has it been written, so has it been done. Go Jackets.
Hap, thank you for those wonderful words of wisdom. Thank you for your big heart that helped you make the decision to come here and influence so many others as well. We so appreciate you. You're a Randolph-Macon treasure. Here's a gift for you to remember this day by.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you very much, President.
I would now like to call on Provost Franz to announce the recipient of the Bruce M. Unger Award.
As many of you know, one of our most respected and beloved professors, Dr. Bruce M. Unger, passed away in 2008 after nearly 40 years of service as a teacher, scholar, mentor, and colleague at Randolph-Macon College. He enriched our campus by his presence and was a model on how to conduct one's life with dignity and purpose. One former student commented of Dr. Unger, "For those he taught, he made us better students. For those he mentored, he made us better people." We memorialize Bruce's wonderful legacy with the Bruce M. Unger Award. The Unger Award is given to retiring faculty with 10 or more years of service to the college. The award consists of a certificate and monetary gift made possible by generous contributions in Professor Unger's memory. Today, we have a talented and dedicated professor who will receive this award. Professor John R. Raboon is a gifted teacher and prodigious scholar who has served the college with distinction throughout his 34-year career. We are grateful to John for his unwavering commitment to this great institution and for strongly upholding the tradition for quality for which our faculty are known. It is my pleasure to have called him my friend and colleague. Professor John Raboon, would you please come forward?
I would now like to invite graduating seniors Rebecca Falter, Sonny Murphy, and Isabel White to come forward to announce the senior gift to the college. And would Society of Alumni President Phil Emerson, class of 1981, join us as well.
Good morning, President Lindgren, distinguished guests, and fellow graduates of the class 2016. The purpose of the senior class gift campaign is to educate our class about the importance of giving back to Randolph-Macon. Each senior was asked to make a donation to the college, and the class of 2016 gift reflects the collective sum of all of our contributions.
On behalf of the Senior Class Gift Committee, I would like to present President Lindgren and Randolph-Macon College a record-breaking 2016 Senior Class gift of over $10,265 from 90% of the class.
By giving so generously, our class has shown our commitment to the college and reaffirmed our understanding of the universal truth that no matter what great heights we will reach in our lifetime, nobody does it alone. Many graduates are here today because someone gave them the chance to succeed through their generous gifts to the college. Now it is our chance to do so, to continue providing opportunities for the Randolph-Macon students who will come after us. The Senior Class Gift Committee would like to thank everyone who supported the campaign this year and best wishes in all of your future endeavors.
Rebecca, Isabel, and Sonny, thank you for your hard work and that of your committee. We so appreciate this gift, this record gift, and you can be sure that we will use it to enhance the quality of life here at Randolph-Macon for the students who are following you here. I would like to ask Phil Emerson now to offer a special message to the class of 2016.
So many of us here, as alumni of this prestigious college, relate to the emotions you, our graduates, are feeling today. As you look ahead to the next chapter in your life, with both excitement and trepidation, you should know that the foundation of a Randolph-Macon experience will take you great places. I'm already impressed with your accomplishments as the class of 2016, including having a remarkable 90% participation to the senior class gift. I know you will continue to contribute your time and resources to the college in the coming years to make our beloved alma mater even stronger. Today is not just your graduation, but also your first and hopefully the beginning of your participation in Randolph-Macon alumni events. On behalf of all of those who have walked before you, I would like to extend a warm welcome to the Society of Alumni. It is an honor to have you join the ranks of fellow RMC alumni, and I look forward to seeing you at future alumni events. Congratulations.
Phil, thank you, and thank you for the leadership you're providing to our alumni. Our senior speaker today is a superb example of a student who has made the very most of her experience at Randolph-Macon College. and in doing so, she has greatly enriched our college community. She's well known for her passion and dedication to RMC and to her fellow students. From the first time that Kristen Coons, a native of Wake Forest, North Carolina, stepped on our campus as a freshman, she immersed herself in virtually every facet of campus life. A Dean's List student and Dean's Award scholar, Kristen graduates today with a double major in economics, business, and communication studies, and she also earned a certificate in leadership studies. She credits her professors with fostering her deep interest in healthcare management. Indeed, her professors are what she says she loves the most about Randolph-Macon. Kristen has taken full advantage of the Randolph-Macon experience in so many ways. She traveled to England with a J-term class this past January. She also served as an orientation leader in her junior and senior years, and as a tour guide for 3 years, including head tour guide for a year. She was president of the college's Delta Zeta sorority chapter and participated on our Yellow Jacket equestrian team. She also made a quite intentional link between her academic work and developing career skills, which seems to have paid off handsomely. In her sophomore year, she attended the EDGE boot camp and was a frequent visitor to the EDGE offices to refine her resumes and cover letters, as well as hone her interview skills. She also completed 3 excellent internships during her RMC career, all hosted by RMC alumni in Richmond and in New York City. Internships which allowed her to learn valuable job skills and put into action what she has learned in her coursework. Looking ahead, Kristen has her sights set on healthcare management, and she will soon begin a healthcare recruiting job with Lab Support, a firm based in nearby Richmond. We are pleased to have shared this extraordinary time at Randolph-Macon with Kristen and look forward to hearing about the bright future ahead of her. Class of 2016, please welcome your senior speaker, Kristen Coons.
Thank you, President Lindgren, for that incredibly warm welcome. He made me sound very good. Classmates, family, friends, staff, faculty, the Board of Trustees, and distinguished guests, I am so excited and honored to stand before you today in celebration of the impressive accomplishments the class of 2016 has achieved in 4 years at Randolph-Macon. And my, oh my, what a journey these 4 years have been. The fall of 2012, our freshman year, was an exciting time for all of us. We were finally able to experience that elusive college freedom we had only dreamed about. That fateful day when our parents would drop us off and we were finally on our own. I was arguably more excited than most. For those of you who know me, know that I was homeschooled for 9 years. So the idea of having my own space and the ability to walk to classes instead of down my hallway was something I had been anticipating for quite a while. However, when my parents dropped me off and said their parting farewells, Mom with that long mama bear hug, and Dad with the misty-eyed, "Good luck, kid, here's 20 bucks," I had no idea the journey that I would soon embark on. Like learning lanyards are not to be worn around the neck, that the science building was pronounced Copley, not Copley, the SD's traditions like Wing Wednesday and Fried Chicken Friday, and the rivalry between Randolph-Macon and Hampton-Sydney really is the oldest and strongest rivalry in the South. These were a few of the things that I, along with many of my classmates, learned quickly in those first few weeks of college. But there were also more pressing, lasting experiences that we have learned from. The type that do not take a mere day to learn, but rather the entirety of our 4 years. The lessons, experiences, and maturity we have gathered in our 4 years are by no simple feat of our own. We have had a steady, guiding hand since we entered our first year. The mission of Randolph-Macon College is to develop the mind and character of its students. As it states on our website, the mission underlies the ultimate goal of preparing students for successful lives. So what does preparing a student for a successful life look like, one might ask? Well, Randolph-Macon has cultivated the mind of its students by providing us with a broad academic foundation. The academic curriculum this class has been exposed to and successfully completed has given us unique perspectives and concepts of the world in which we live. In 4 years, we have critically developed our minds that reason, that think, feel, and perceive. Students at Randolph-Macon are able to defend, clearly communicate, and skillfully articulate their knowledge in extraordinary ways. Many of our seniors here today have completed a summer of research through the Shapiro Undergraduate Research Fellowship. This fellowship has allowed students to have the privilege of working alongside our distinguished professors to commandeer meaningful research in their respective academic fields. Many of our seniors have completed internships made possible through the college's Bassett Internship Foundation and the Edge Career Center. Both programs have partnered with students to find them meaningful experiences that have provided us with insight and knowledge into the workforce and have better prepared us for our careers. And all of the students here today have successfully completed 4 years at this institution and will earn a college degree today. And that in itself is worth its weight in gold. Collectively, the minds of our graduating class are extraordinary. The academic experiences we have been exposed to and given here will last a lifetime. And our character is equally matched. One way Randolph-Macon has developed the character of this graduating class is through cultural understanding. Our professors do not simply prod us to think, they push us to do. The opportunities we have to study abroad and immerse ourselves in different cultures is unparalleled. We have not simply thought, we have physically gone and actively participated in adventures and awe-inspiring trips. Like our seniors who have participated in January term trips or semester-long adventures, traveling to places like Italy, Japan, England, and beyond. And while different cultures are integral in developing character, it is not the only way to do so. Character is not built just through active learning in the classroom or on a study abroad trip, but beyond. It is also found in our sports teams, our organizations, and our passions. Character is built through perseverance. It was watching our seniors lead our sports teams to ODAC championships over the last 4 years. Character is formed through courage. It is witnessing one of our graduating classmates, Andrew, beat cancer 4 times. Character is living with integrity. It is conducting ourselves in a manner that will honor our classmates, our professors, and our community. Character is the qualities we gain through whatever inspires us. I wish I could share with you all a profile of each and every one of our students that are graduating today, because collectively, the minds and character of our graduating class are extraordinary. And is that not what Randolph-Macon has pledged to do? Build extraordinary? One definition of extraordinary is this: having a special, often temporary task or responsibility. The day that we committed to attend Randolph-Macon was the day Randolph-Macon pledged to develop our minds and character. But Randolph-Macon is not simply an institution. It is a community of individuals who have been dedicated to our success in this temporary 4-year period. It is the professors who teach and inspire, like the professors who list their cell phone numbers on their syllabus so students can text them with 200 questions at 10 p.m. before an 8 a.m. exam. It is the administrators who advocate and care, like the deans who organize diversity programs and oversee the Student Government Association so the voices of our student body can be heard. It is the alumni who support and provide, like those who have provided me with 3 internships, my most recent one allowing myself and fellow classmate Allie Jensen to live in New York City for an entire summer. And it is the rest of campus officials and employees like our librarians, our dining services staff, or campus safety officials, whose smiling faces and services have provided us with safe and comfortable amenities through these 4 years. The gift of our education and cultivated mind and character are only made possible through the sacrifices and generosity of these people. They have truly dedicated themselves to this extraordinary task. Words cannot adequately express the gratitude that I, along with my classmates, have towards your service and desire for our success. We thank you endlessly. And while our temporary time at Randolph-Macon is coming to a close, this commencement is the celebration of a beginning. Today is the beginning of this special place, the center of the universe, becoming our alma mater. It is a start to giving back to this community that has given so much of itself to us. Randolph-Macon has created extraordinary indeed. Congratulations to the class of 2016. It's a great day to be a YJ.
Thank you, Kristen, for those spirited words. In the great tradition of today, I can clearly say you are a Macon woman. It is now my honor to present the Murray Medal Award. The H.W. Murray Medal for Scholarship was established in 1889 by a legacy of Mrs. W.T. Goodwin of Louisa County, Virginia, in memory of her father. It is the valedictorian award presented to the member of the graduating class having the highest cumulative academic average. Will the recipient of this year's H.W. Murray Medal please come forward and be recognized? Madeline Elaine Monk. It is now my pleasure to confer degrees on our terrific graduating seniors. So I now wish to ask President Lindgren to come to the center podium. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science please rise? President Lindgren, I have the honor to present to you certain candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science. The registrar has certified that each of these candidates has completed all the requirements for the degree, and the faculty has voted unanimously to award these degrees.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees and the Commonwealth of Virginia, I am pleased to confer upon you the degree Bachelor of Science with all the rights, privileges, and honors appertaining thereto. Please move your tassel from your right to your left. And congratulations.
Would the sponsors please rise? Sponsors, it is now your duty to hood your graduates. You may be seated. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts please rise? President Lindgren, I have the further honor to present to you certain candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts. The registrar has certified that each of these candidates has completed all the requirements for the degree, and the faculty has voted unanimously to award these degrees.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees and the Commonwealth of Virginia, I am pleased to confer upon you the degree Bachelor of Arts with all the rights, privileges, and honors appertaining thereto. Please move your tassel from your right to your left.
Would the sponsors please rise? And please hood your graduates. You may be seated. Marshals, would you please escort the graduates to the platform to receive their diplomas? Noelle Ann McKerney, summa cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Elizabeth Michelle Steiner, summa cum laude, with honors, Phi Beta Kappa. Alexi Janine Bowden, magna cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Emily Dawn Kirk, magna cum laude, with honors, Phi Beta Kappa. Tracy Michelle Morricone, magna cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa, Smithy Mathematics Medal. Haley Nicole Russ, magna cum laude, with honors, Phi Beta Kappa. Brennan Paul Terhune Cotter, magna cum laude, with honors, Phi Beta Kappa. Reginald Michael Ashton Jr., cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Ajwa Ohinawa Bamfo, cum laude, with honors. Trevor Allen Fisher, cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. John Kelly Henry, cum laude. Sarita Elizabeth Huff, cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Ahmad Iqbal Nazeri, cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Anthony Garrett Polakevich, cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Brittany Elizabeth Ritchie, cum laude, with honors. Sophie Schaff, cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Kristen Michelle Sheets, cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Brooke Catherine Thompson, cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Talbot Hope Weston, cum laude. Caitlin Annette Anderson. Edward Bafford. George Austin Bain. Veronica Jean Barley. Kaylin Emily Belton. Linda Catherine Blackburn. Robert Joseph Brajic. Samantha Janine Cameron. Mariah Corey Carper. Mary Agnes Cookson. Dexter O'Brien Dodson. Patrick Heck Dwyer. Christopher Thomas Estep. Madison Bell Gilman. Jordan Blair Goodman. Austin Harold Goen. Caleb Benjamin Hatcher. Mark Ellis Heidemann. Joe Abner Hunter III. Samantha Michelle Jackson. Tiffany Lynette Jessup. Bernard Michael Kroll. Micaiah James Landrum. Travis Nevin Lodge. Stephen Hunter Laurie. Zachary Ross Long. Courtney Nicole Lowers. Riley Elizabeth Martin. Philip James Mock. Thomas Bach Morgan with honors. Zachary Ian Netzel. Gregory Charles Nordanis. Andrew Michael Oakes. Jacqueline Marie Oakes. Emily Catherine Ortiz. Bridget Michelle Panis. Lindsay Brine Pelland. Lucas Hunter Powell. Eric Nicholas Rhea. Casey Scott Schooler. Delaney Marie Shear. Alexa Taz Shoemate. Matthew James Stanek. Mitchell Ryan Surkamp. Matthew Thomas Terry. Sebastian Gabriel Vera Brain. Brittany Nicole Wilkerson. Martika Lene Williams. Quincy Lamont Williams. Kelsey Lynn Wooldridge. Kayla Marie Wolfson. Philip Lee Wyatt Jr. Emily Grace Barnes, summa cum laude. Madeline Elaine Monk, summa cum laude. Phi Beta Kappa. H.W. Murray Medal for Scholarship. Robert Epps Jones Prize in Classical Studies. John B. and Anita Werner Phi Beta Kappa Award. Hannah Kayleen Pencook, summa cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Trong Duan Tu Pham, summa cum laude. Noble McEwen Award for Outstanding Achievement in Social Sciences. Serena Stacy Tien, summa cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Rebecca Sidney Waldman, summa cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. John B. and Anita S. Werner Phi Beta Kappa Award. Austin Nathaniel Wash, summa cum laude, with honors, Phi Beta Kappa. Kelly Victoria Balderson, magna cum laude. Samantha K. Davis, magna cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Lydia Elizabeth Delk, magna cum laude. Nicole Ashley Fote, magna cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Nadira Yasmin Hill, magna cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Ryan Kabir, magna cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Hong Tu No, magna cum laude. Martha Francis Reynolds, magna cum laude, with honors, Phi Beta Kappa. Dylan Alexander Scott, magna cum laude. Richard Stratton Bach, cum laude, Bennett Memorial Historical Award. Kevin Taylor Boyette, cum laude. Allison Nicole Carpenter, cum laude. Jessica Catherine Casso, cum laude. Marissa Eileen Clark, cum laude. Yumiki Zomaya Funches, with honors, cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Emily Faye Hewitt, cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Cody David Huber, cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Rachel Hannah Monkowski, cum laude. Thomas Streeter Morissette III, cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Elena Marie Niaz, cum laude. Natalie Irene Schnell, cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Catherine Marie Schwallen, cum laude. Samantha Lynn Tyler, cum laude. Mariah Lee Webster, cum laude. David Lee Zeronis, cum laude. John Kennedy Adam. Meredith Glenn Allen. Ashley Anderson. Mitchell Keith Ardinger. Luis Antonio Arroyo II. Brooke Palmore Atkinson. Grace Louise Ayler. Ann Blythe Bailey. Nathan Stanley Baldwin. Christopher Blanton Bazemore. Marika Nelms Beal. Nicholas Mark Benhoff. Elizabeth Ashley Marion Blanco. Olivia Helen Bowling. Margaret Elizabeth Brown. Alyssa Marie Burke. Daniel Bird. Wendy Calderon Masarigos. Danielle Madison Calhoun. William Fitzhugh Cantrell. Miles Braxton Carroll. Gunnar Alexander Chafin. Alyssa Margaret Chavez. Michael Taylor Clifford. Casey Christine Kumbi. Addison Marie Cooper. Donald James Kiefer Cosper. Madison Alexandra Craig. Lisa Barker Crosswell. Austin Wayne Cundiff. Bradley Robert Dagger. Kenneth Leon Daniel III. Christopher Jamal Davis. Kiana Cherie Michelle Davis. Matthew Scott DiBiase. Steve Yao Moena Denachui. Derek James Dittmar with honors. President Lindgren, while the registrar reports that no grades have been recorded on an official transcript, and the treasurer reports that not a single dollar of tuition money has been paid, I have it in good authority that the dog that appears before us this morning has faithfully attended classes across a broad spectrum of the liberal arts and sciences. Acting on only that good authority, I recommend to you conferral of the unofficial degree, Canine of Arts. Canine of Arts for Howard the ever-faithful servant dog. Adam Charles Donahoe. Brayshawn Nathaniel Dozier. Natasha Duncan. Erin Elizabeth DeZena. Skylar Edwards. Morgan Michelle Evans. Rebecca Marie Falter. Jonathan Paul Farnham. Atticus Brandon William Finn. Virginia Elizabeth Flowers. Shane Logan Foley. Daniel Warren Gallagher Jr. Nathan Christian Goodell. Carlos Tavon Gray. Renee Ashley Jeanette Greenslade. Madison Claire Guidry. Melissa Gutierrez Sanchez. Violet Virginia Hahn. Lindsay Carolyn Hall. Dominique Kimjata Harvey. Kajay Simone Hester. Caitlin Olivia Holschauer. Priscilla Jane Holgrave. Brittany Amanda Ingara. Dorian J. Jackson. Rachel Lane Jacobson. Shannon Patricia Jameson. Elizabeth Allen Jensen. Maximilian Zane Jeremenko. Siobhan Ashley Johnson. Connor Thompson Jones. Brian Frank Jorgensen. Elliot Benjamin Katz. Mitchell Logan Keeler. Margaret Elizabeth Kidwell. Brannon John Kincaid. Devin Jerome King. Jessica King. Samantha Lynn King. Andrew Paul Kern. Anne Elizabeth Knowlton. Michael C. Kozlowski Jr. Kristen Nicole Coons. Nathan Scott Landers. Jordan Anthony Lee. Rachel Elizabeth Lee. Thomas Randall Lewis. Hannah Ruth Liverman. Peyton Elizabeth Lucas. Joseph Thomas Madden III. Nicholas James Milo III. Christopher Thomas Clayton Mallory. Isabel Jamila Mangana. Patricia Goulden Mungus. Brooke Noel Mock. Charles Rupert McAdams IV. Brittany K. McCollum. Jennifer Fisher McDonough. Megan Jane McGowan. Jess Carey McLaughlin. Shannon Lee McMurray. May Margaret McNeil. Jenna Elizabeth Meeks. Jack Henry Miller. Brian James Miltenberger Jr. Hunter Edward Mitchell. Tracy Rachel Mooneyham. Denzel Lamont Moore. Emily Elizabeth Moore. Connor Moran. Joshua Wayne Morgan. John Valmont Mosier. Sonny Angel Murphy. Catherine Grace Myers. Ziad William Knockley. Laura Bailey Knowles. Mackenzie Elise Nunnally. Jennifer Megan O'Neill. Anna Gray Osborne. Allison McGee Miller Pace. Emily Sue Parker. Carly Michelle Pepper. Tanner Richard Phillips. Caroline Kramer Phipps. Joseph Tyler Pocalico. Marilita Carmesi Poma Pacheco. Zachary Lee Poston. Zachary Smith Price. Susan Marie Pullen. Victoria Rose Race. Jessica Carol Rawls. Yasmin Amira Rayshuni. Margaret Hampton Raymond. Rebecca Helen Ream. Cody Stephen Remo. Cheyenne Nicole Reynolds. Erin Lynn Roberts. Morgan Lee Rowling. Michael Anthony Romero. Catherine Louise Rosberg. Catlin Elizabeth Russo. Taylor Sinclair Ryan. Christian Russell Sanderson. Stephen Michael Sarver. Andrew Michael Schaefer. Catherine Marie Schweitzer. Christine Deacon Sellers. Lauren Elizabeth Sheets. Jasmine Shanae Shepherd. Matthew Berner Simon. Margaret Ann Skinner. Kayla Ann Smith. Landon Richard Smith. Thomas Christopher Smith. Mahogany Janae Sneed. Sarah James Sneed. Forrest Taylor Spates. Abigail Allen Spitz. Rosalind Morgan Tigner. Alec Davis Trammell. Hannah Jane Trammell. Michael Dale Trentham. Robert Charles Trickett. Justin Allen Truitt. Jacob Franklin Trump. Mackenzie Ray Turner. Nathan Wesley Turner. Rebecca Turner. Emily Jean Van Bruggen. Joseph Peyton Vanderside. Lauren Alexa Vuktavine. James Patrick Walsh. Charles Joseph Wedekin V. Isabel Marie White. Sarah Ann Whited. Janelle Catherine Whitman. Hunter Pierce Wilkinson. Alexandra Nicole Williams. Parker Curtis Williams. Nicholas Roger Williamson. John Michael Winburn. Kittinan Wongsirikul. Katie Lee Woody. Lauren Elizabeth Ray. Michael William Yost. Nicole Lee Zook. The class of 2016 has graduated.
To the Randolph-Macon College class of 2016, congratulations. And it is now time for you to take your leave of this special place. You have received an extraordinary education here, and I trust who you are and what you take away from this special college will hold you in good stead in all that you do. Here you should have, above all, learned how to learn. And make yourself a pledge today. While your undergraduate days have reached their official conclusion, your days of being a student will never end. And I hope that the values you have refined and maybe even developed here will help you to be strong leaders in our society and in our world. Now, you graduates would not be where you are today were it not for the loving support of others, many others. And your esteemed speaker noted that fact in his remark and had you give them a hearty applause. And by the way, graduates, you have another special reason to give thanks to your parents today, as the Randolph-Macon Parents Association, inspired by Professor Emeritus Robert Barrett, has made possible that special honored graduates' brick walkway with your names inscribed that you traversed this morning. We certainly thank your generous parents for helping make your walkway possible. Others who have lifted you graduates up on their shoulders for these past 4 years include the superb faculty of this institution and our caring staff. So before we leave today, we have one more important Randolph-Macon tradition to celebrate. What I know best about this college, and your senior speaker expressed it eloquently, is that seniors value most your connection with your dedicated and outstanding Randolph-Macon faculty, who in turn have so strongly valued your well-being and the success of you, their students, so that this important group can too be recognized by both the graduating class and by your parents and family and friends. I would ask the faculty and staff to stand and receive our grateful thanks for a job well done. Now, none of us would be who we are and where we are without our mentors. And I know that you graduates have your own mentors to thank for today's important milestone, including special faculty and staff members and coaches and members of your family and friends. I encourage you to do just that. That is, thank them and thank them early and often for what they have meant to you. Not enough of us do this often enough, and today we are reminded of how important it is. In her new book, Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance, published just earlier this month, Professor Angela Duckworth talks about what she describes as the secret to success. Duckworth is a MacArthur Genius Awardee, a PhD in psychology, and perhaps more significant to our graduates today, her 2013 TED Talk has garnered nearly 9 million views. But after years of careful research, she has concluded that one characteristic, emerges as a predictor of success. It's not social intelligence or good looks or physical health or even IQ. It is grit. Grit, meaning the quality of having passion and perseverance over a long time to achieve your goal. Her book has become an instant bestseller, and it doesn't surprise me. Having served in higher education for 37 years, over 10 of which have been at this wonderful institution, I have seen Dr. Duckworth's conclusion played out time and time again in the lives of students from literally every background. And just think who we have honored today. We were so privileged to hear a remarkable message this morning from an equally remarkable man, Hap Payne, whose grit and perseverance served him well on this campus 50 years ago and throughout his and Alice's successful life ever since. And it is a great lesson and example for all of us here today. As with our other honorary degree recipient, Dr. Sue Carroll, her path was not easy either, and she too was faced with significant obstacles along the way, but she has not let those stop her, all the while demonstrating profound perseverance in the chronicling of important lives from the late 18th century, lives which speak to us meaningfully even today. And all of us who have been blessed to have been on this campus have seen wonderful role models all around us this past year and this past 4 years, folks with obvious and demonstrable perseverance and grit. The easy ones to spot are the Yellow Jacket athletes, whose hard work and persistence often represent the margin of competitive success. How fortunate we've been to have watched seniors graduating today who led our Yellow Jackets to a #1 national ranking in men's basketball a year ago, or led this year's baseball and volleyball teams to heretofore unreached national prominence. Yes. And how about our senior football players who demolished Hampton-Sydney 3 out of their 4 years? Or how about the 22 Sweetbriar students who joined us this year, including 3 graduates today? They all had to make an emotionally difficult decision to stay here and then work especially hard to prove the wisdom of that choice. Or take Derek Dittmar, who embarks from this place today with a full scholarship to law school. And that, my friends, was a scholarship he earned by dint of hard work and preparation. We will hear more from Derek, I am confident, and when we do, we will remind ourselves of just how inspiring it has been for all of us to see him navigate this campus so assuredly and so joyfully, both before Howard and after. And there are also many other of your classmates who have overcome similar challenges, some visible and some not, but formidable challenges nevertheless. But these are just a very few examples from a class literally chock full of students with enormous grit and perseverance. Every single one of you. I tip my hat to you for that and say quite simply and so proudly, keep it up. I know that you will. And finally, as you leave this place today, I know you will continue to do your part to make sure that Randolph-Macon College, now your alma mater, keeps getting better. And that remains in your interests as well. Your extraordinary class gift and that of the class of 1966, who's sharing this day with you, already sets you apart in the annals of RMC history and bodes very well for the future of your alma mater. Keep giving back. By doing so, you honor yourselves and those who came before you, like the alumni celebrating with you today, and like so many, many others who have done so much to make your own great experience here possible. and like them, soon you too will be the shoulders on which future generations of Yellow Jackets will stand. And I know yours will be mighty shoulders indeed. And so it is. To the Randolph-Macon class of 2016, I offer my heartiest congratulations and Godspeed.
Please stand for the benediction. Receive this blessing. Let nothing distract you from the calling that is yours. Let no darkness hide the light within you. Let no fear quench your thirst for justice and kindness. Wherever your journey takes you, let this be your second home. And know that we are always your Randolph-Macon family. Go now in peace. Amen.
Following the recession of the platform party, everyone here is invited for a picnic lunch on the grounds of the Copley Science Center. Senior Atticus Finn will lead us in the alma mater following that benediction, so please stand and remain standing.
Thank you.